Your website can look perfectly fine in a browser and still be weak source material for an AI system. Not because AI cannot open websites, because opening a page is not the same as using it. An automated agent, crawler, or RAG pipeline needs to fetch the public page, find the real content, understand the structure, respect the crawl rules, and produce an evidence-backed row instead of guessing. That is the problem underneath a lot of today's AI search advice. People say, add llms.txt. People say, optimize for AI visibility. People say, make your site ready for AI agents. Some of that is useful, but the first question is much smaller. Can AI systems actually use your public page as clean source material? Here is the difference. In my local audit, one page has the boring good result. It can be fetched, it has page identity signals, it has a sitemap, it has llms.txt, and its crawl policy is not obviously blocking common AI crawlers. Another page is missing llms.txt. That is a warning, but not the end of the world. The useful part is the evidence. The audit tells you exactly which URL was checked. And the third page has llms.txt and a sitemap, but still gets a warning because robots' rules appear to block common AI crawlers. That is why this cannot be a one-file checklist. llms.txt can help, but it is not magic. A clean title can help, but it is not enough. A site can be visible to a human and still be awkward for a machine to inspect reliably. So this video is not about ranking in ChatGPT. It is not about gaming AI overviews. It is not a promise that your site will be cited, recommended, indexed, or paid. It is about the layer before those claims. Did you give AI systems something clean to work with? For that, I use 6 boring checks. Boring is the point. Boring means the output is closer to an inspection checklist and farther away from an AI SEO spell. The first check is fetch status. Can the public page be reached at all? If the page is login only, blocked by a paywall, hidden behind a CAPTCHA, or only useful after a complex human interaction, then it may be a perfectly valid website, but it is not clean public source material for a general-purpose automated system. The second check is page identity. Does the page have a clear title? Does it have a useful meta description? Is there one obvious H1? Is the canonical URL clear? These are old web basics, but they become more important when machines need to summarize, classify, compare, and quote information. If a page cannot clearly say what it is, an AI system may still guess. But guessing is not the same as understanding. The third check is crawl policy. This is where a lot of llms.txt conversations skip a step. Robots' rules still matter. If your crawl policy blocks important bots, or if different crawlers are allowed and blocked in ways you did not intend, then useful content can still be off limits to some automated systems. This is not about bypassing robots' rules. It is about knowing what your public rules say. That is why the robot's warning matters. It does not say your site is doomed. It says, check this policy boundary before you assume AI systems can use the page. The fourth check is site structure. Is there a sitemap? Can important pages be found through links? Are your key pages only obvious to someone who already knows where to click? For an automated system trying to discover and organize public material, paths matter. The fifth check is the LLM guide layer, llms.txt. The idea is simple. Put a markdown file at the root of the site that gives language models a clean entry point into important pages, documentation, or background. That could be useful, but it is a map, not an engine. It points. It does not rank. It does not override crawl policy. It does not fix unclear content. It does not guarantee that any AI product will cite you. The sixth check is extractable evidence. Can the important content be found as text or structured data? Or is the page mostly an app shell that only becomes meaningful after JavaScript runs? This is where AI can open websites gets tricky. Some search systems can render JavaScript. Some agents can control browsers. Some tools cannot, or should not, or will not do that cheaply at scale. So the practical question is not, could the most powerful possible AI eventually figure this out? The practical question is, did you make the important public content available in a form that automated systems can inspect reliably? That is also why I care more about evidence rows than about a big readiness number. A vague number makes you ask, is 64 bad? Is 90 good? An evidence row makes you ask a better question. What was checked? Where was it checked? And what should I do next? Take the missing pre-llms.txt row. The warning is simple. No /pre-llms.txt file was found. But the useful part is the checked URL. Now the owner can decide, add the file, ignore it, or explain why this site does not need it. That is actionable. Now, take the robots row. The page can have sitemap. It can have pre-llms.txt. It can still have a policy warning if common AI crawlers appear blocked. That row prevents a bad conclusion. Without it, you might say, I added pre-llms.txt, so I'm done. With it, you say, wait, my guide file and my crawl policy may not be aligned. That is the entire value of the audit. Not a magic score, not a growth promise, an evidence trail. The official source side points in the same direction. Google's documentation around AI features still points back to familiar fundamentals. Make pages crawlable, make important content visible, make content helpful, and do not assume eligibility means guaranteed serving. Google's JavaScript SEO guidance makes a practical point too. Rendered pages and initial HTML are not always the same thing, and not every bot can run JavaScript the way a full browser can. That does not mean every site must become plain HTML. It means you should know what important public content is available to machines without heroic effort. So if you own a website, here's the fix order I would use before worrying about AI search visibility. First, make the important public content available as text. If the core value is trapped in images, hidden interactions, PDFs with no surrounding context, or a late-loading app shell, automated systems have a harder job. Second, clean up page identity. Title, description, H1, canonical URL. Not glamorous. Very useful. Third, check crawl policy. Look at robots' rules and crawler permissions. Make sure they match what you actually want. Fourth, keep important pages discoverable. Use a sitemap. Use internal links. Do not make your best public material a secret maze. Fifth, add structured evidence where it matches the visible content. Structured data should clarify what is already true on the page. It should not invent a parallel version of the page. Sixth, add pre-llms.txt if it genuinely helps guide language models to the right material. Use it as a map, not as a ranking button. Finally, run a small audit and keep the rows. The rows are the part you can review. They tell you what was checked, what failed, what passed, and what is only a boundary. The final takeaway is readable first, discoverable later, guaranteed never. If an AI system can fetch the page, parse the important content, respect the rules, and produce evidence-backed rows, your site has a better foundation than a magic checklist. And if it cannot, the fix is probably not another acronym. It is making the public page clearer.